Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Mother's Day. Today I'm going to talk about on my live feed. A lot of you guys have gave me some good input. One of it was on raids, stories on being raided with the police, I guess, during when riding on the subways, writing graffiti in the 1980s. And I'll get on that topic. And another one, kind of funny, because it was someone who was actually trolling. On my live feed, they say funny things like, "Did you know Tommy Pencil Dick?" So I read it, it's all small stuff. I'm like, "Did I know Tommy Pencil Dick?" Ah, I'm like, "Oh," and everyone gets a chuckle out of it. In that, they said Joe Cock, and I'm like, "I actually do know Joe Cock." And I started to get into it. Yeah, I know Joe Cock. And they were just trying to be funny, but Joe Cock was someone from this neighborhood. We named him Joe Cock. I wouldn't call it to him to his face, not that he was a threatening man. He was an old man, very old. When I first met Joe Cock, he looked like that guy from that actor from the Marathon Man, the brother of Dustin Hoffman's brother. In Jaws, he was in Jaws. We need a bigger boy. D. Snyder. No, Roy, R- Roy Snyder. I'm pretty sure it was Roy Snyder. Yeah, he looked just like that guy. And it's probably about my mid 20s when I met that guy. And he's dead now. And he was like a con man. And I was talking about like now how society is in the world. He'd be robbing people left and right, man. I mean, this guy would literally just cold call. He actually was all over the newspapers. He was the guy who was bilking old people out of their money. Yeah, I guess nothing to laugh at. He was like cold calling old people and getting a bunch of money out of them. I remember it was in the newspaper. Yeah, we knew him as Joe Cock. He lived in Andrew Lace's building. Hung out with him a lot. He'd get high and just like call people all day and shit like that. Stay up for days on end doing that. And he passed away, and he had a girlfriend named Vicky. And I had mentioned that she talked like a vampire, like Zol. And someone had said, yes, Vicky was from Bulgaria, and that Joe Cock was actually Italian. Because in my life, I had mentioned I'm not sure if he was Italian or Jewish. I don't remember, but he would wear a gold chain. He had either the Star of David on it or something like that, or a Christ head or something. I forget. He had like, he'd always have his shirt down like that. Yeah, he looked just like Roy Schneider, but um, yeah, he was probably about 20 something years older than us. But yeah, Sammy D3 knew him a lot better than me. Sammy D3 actually lived there for a while. And what else can I say about him? Yeah, funny dude, man. Funny dude. He passed away, but I'll tell you right now, the way the world is, yeah, he'd be. This dude was really a good scam artist, man. That's what he did. He was a con man. Um, yeah. So someone had actually mentioned, like they knew, and for them to know that that was Joe Cock that I was talking about, and the girl being Bulgarian, and that he wore the gold chain with the Italian horn on it. I was like, oh shit. So that person actually does know. But you see, a lot of people come on my page here and they know me, and I guess they don't actually use their real names. So I'm thinking this is going to be someone within my circle, because we called him Joe Cock, but that wasn't his real name. I believe we called him Joe Cock. I think Lace Andrew owed him money or something like that. He's like, Joe Cock is coming for his fucking money again, something like that. And we just stuck with calling him Joe Cock. But that was amongst us. So, I'm trying to think who could that possibly be? But yeah, there's a few people out there that seem like they know quite a lot about what I'm talking about. And that's good. I mean, you should shoot me an Instagram message or something. But yes, that was Joe Cock. He died. Vicky's still alive. I don't know whatever happened to Vicky. Vicky was his girlfriend. Like I said, she was Bulgarian, according to the person that had made the call. I believe she was from Bulgaria. And yeah, when I first saw her, she looked kind of pretty, but I mean, James, she kind of got messed up looking. Um, yeah, Bulgaria, very pretty woman, exotic looking, and I mean, she got old too. They get old. People get old. When I landed, Joe Cox was probably like 70 or something like that. Shit, yeah. I mean, when I first met him, he was probably like how old I am now. and got high with him quite a few times. All right, I don't know what else to say about that. Now, raid stories. Yeah, one thing I'll tell you, just to put it in a nutshell, because I've been through this topic a lot, and I'm doing something on my Patreon currently. But all right, the raids were different than what's going on now. I believe the way the police actually caught people back then, like you got to realize people weren't ratting on graffiti. It was like you're an outcast if you would tell on someone. Although they did have people, I believe there's a picture actually that surfaced and it's around. You could probably Google it. Billy, yeah, the graffiti writer Billy. He's holding up the card that he got from being arrested. And I believe that's like a get out of jail free card or something like that. You show them that, give them information or something to that effect. There's very few, and that's even before my time. But when I was out there, man, I don't think that's how shit went down. I mean, a writer might talk about when someone's going to hit a yard or hit a tunnel or something like that because they know inside information, the cops. But that's what was crazy back then. Like, I remember, well, I couldn't even tell you about stories with Lace and Nada, ESP. That's like just when I was starting to write, this happened. Like, I wasn't even really killing shit on the subways at all. And they're telling me these stories and shit about yeah, but anyway, yeah, in my own opinion, and I realized I was fucking around up in the Bronx, man. They didn't fuck around. They didn't even have like their Vandal Squad. They just had like the Pelham Bay Graffiti Squad or something like that. I don't believe it was like a borough-wide thing when I actually started out. But it was weird because up at the sixes, I never actually like they would always come because I fucked up. You got me? Like they would come because I somehow exposed myself. I dicked it. I thought I could do something that I couldn't or something like that. Like for instance, I'll be walking on the outer track or even on the inside of the train. Maybe I'll get down too low. I'll get down too late when the train's actually going by, and I'll get down too late, and a cop catches that out the corner of his eye. He's like, "Yo, there's someone in there." Because the cops would literally look through the middle track and they'd see if riders are inside. Or maybe I was even out getting in from one set of trains to another set of trains out on the catwalk, jumping around above ground, elevated platform. You're literally just hopping around on little pieces of wood. And I might get seen that way. There's no real apartment buildings over there. They're all low houses, 3-story houses, shit like that. You have a couple of supermarkets or something like that, a big graveyard up there in the sixes. I used to hit the sixes. So up near the graveyard, you still got to worry because behind the graveyard, the road is a hill. Am I actually still doing this? Hold on. Yeah, it's still going. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, but because this is my new laptop. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Up the hill, they could go by and be in the graveyard. It's just a bunch of gravestones and a couple of trees. They could look right at the fucking layup. And they'd have all the fucking lights on that shit. And they could see it. They'd come down. And that's actually the Vandal Squad. Hey, that's how they would roll. I would have problems with them a lot. They'd come from both sides, from the uptown and the downtown, on the tracks. And had no problem moving forward on the outer part. But when it comes to crossing the beams, they were a little slow. So you always had that advantage. Believe me, man, they came quite often. And, yeah, I would always get up as far as I can and then cut across because they're not good at cutting across. Like just jimmying on the beams. They'll run on the straight wood. It's like a platform almost. But when it gets out in between them little fucking tracks and third rails and shit, and you're getting to the next one, that's where their game is a little slacky. Some of them are afraid of heights and stuff like that. Some of them are older, overweight, holding a lot of gear and stuff like that. But it would always be both. Like Middletown Road, be coming from the uptown and the downtown. And oh, shit, coming at you this way now. You should turn around and coming that way. So you gotta go across. And for real, that shit used to be crazy. And I would be like, yo, I remember once I was actually running, right? And I saw the fucking downtown 6 train going downtown, the local. Like it was pulling out of the station, and I got that fucking ticket. I had my key on me. I actually went from being outdoors on the last car, like where the little thing is in the door. I actually opened it up and just had a seat. There was no one in. It was like 4:30 in the morning and shit. I had a seat and I was like, yo, I can't be sitting right here at the next stop. It's like I got up and I just tried to go to the busiest section where it's like in the middle and shit. I remember I threw my army coat out and shit like that. And I went and I had no problems at all. I was like, whoa, motherfuckers, boy. And it was like just an adrenaline and a thrill. You got to realize, man, these fucking cops were right there. Yeah, man, them motherfuckers didn't play that shit. And those were the undercovers. Those were actually vandal cops. And they were pretty bad, them fucking tracks, man. I'm not gonna front. And if you fall, you're literally falling like 30 feet to the ground. Then you get hit by a fucking car that's coming. A car ain't gonna know a human being just fell in front. You know, the car stops, it's slippery or something, rain, oil leak. Yeah, you're gonna fall, break a bunch of bones, and then get hit by a fucking car. And that was a pretty busy street underneath there, even late at night. Yeah, that was wild. But what I'm trying to say is, I've never experienced a lay in wait situation. I mean, up there at the Sixes. Like, in other words, I would be at the Lexington line, winter layouts, fresh tracks. And I'd be doing the inside. And all of a sudden, like, I swear, I'll be there for like a half hour, 45 fucking minutes, just coming down, just caught like 30, 40 cars. And I get to like the 41st car. Go in, doors are open and shit. Go in. What the fuck was that? I hear it again. I hear the door. Yeah, and I look. I'm oh shit! I just start running out. Then the next door too. Yeah, but I'd actually got past, like in the middle of the car. They wait until you get right in the middle of the car and you get nice and comfortable. And both sides have conductor boots. They open and come and get you like that. I actually was like, yo, like as I was right next to the one that actually had a cop in it too, and I was like, yo, but I heard the door down that way. So I was like, and it was like a human noise. It looked like some shit I forget, like a cough or something. And I could see it's not a writer. The doors are open and shit. I'm like, and as I was stepping back, like, nah, right there, flew open and actually hit me in the shoulder. And I looked at the fuck. I was like, well, I didn't even grab the chains or nothing. I just grabbed my ass and just boom, landed in between cars, slid right out and started going for it. And I got away. But that is weird that these motherfuckers would actually sit there for hours on end like that. I mean, I guess they would hang out in the middle of the car. I didn't smell no cigarette smoke and nothing like that. So you would think that they probably hang out there, just talk to each other, maybe play cards. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of dark, very dark. And then like, okay, here he comes, get into position. I don't think they're sitting there in the conductor booth like that for fucking hours on end. But yo, that shit was crazy. I often wondered about that. Like, you see, that shit is gone. The cops ain't doing that shit to fucking writers no more. That shit's gone. But you got to realize this is the way I thought it. They'd hang out with each other in the car, talk shit. How's your wife? How's the kids? Oh, barbecue, this, that. Okay, here we go. We got some writers. I'll go in this booth, you go. And then they'll just pop out at you. But that kind of stuff doesn't go on. I'd say after the trains died, they pretty much been just relying on like graffiti informants, rats, I guess would be the term. Like someone gets caught and then oh well this, that, and then they tell on someone else and so on and so forth. So nowadays I believe it's just a matter of calling up someone that knows someone that got caught by someone that did some shit to someone, you know what I mean? And it's gone. It's just like I often wondered, like up the one tunnel, all these different locations. Why didn't you just make themselves known? You got me? Like, why didn't the cops just be like, yo, we're here. That shit ain't happening tonight. Like, just turn on all the lights and be there with your coffee and let them see. Like, right there at the front car. I guess because then the graffiti writers are like, yeah, shit. And they'll go somewhere else. And they didn't have the kind of manpower to do that to each and every location. You know, but I often wondered. It seemed like they have to be in down. Like that shit's like hunting deers and shit like that. Like for a cop to take on that position, they often make fun of the Vandal Squad. But for them to take on that kind of position, like you gotta be into that kind of shit. Like that's some weird fucking stakeout shit, man. Like for real, that's some weird ass stakeout shit. I've heard stories from BS Bomb Squad, 357, right, Tommy. where out in Astoria layup that this Ferrari or Goldie or one of them cops actually would hop out the fucking sandbox. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. In my mind, I mean, I'm not telling Tommy or Ripe or whoever told me the story. It might have been KK or PK or someone out in Queens told me this. Uh, Jice, maybe. I don't know. But someone out in Queens, I remember, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. The way that fucking dude's gonna sit in, like, I remember that's when I was actually hitting the layup, and the person I was about to hit it with, because it was at nighttime, they actually said, yo, wait, we gotta check the sandboxes. Check the sand. At the end of each station, you have a big box of sand in case there's a fire on the tracks. You throw sand on it. And the trains are electrical. You're not going to fucking hit it with water. You're not going to, you get me? It's electric, water, no good. So they throw sand on. So they have these sandboxes at the end of the stations. And it was rumored that this fucking one cop, motherfucker, I forgot which one. It was Goldie or Curly. Goldie, the big blue-headed dude, like the guy was like my height. I'm like, fuck out of here. No way, dude. No one's gonna sit inside a fucking sandbox for hours on end and catch a fucking teenager writing graffiti. Like, but I never witnessed that. But there's been rumors of shit like that. Maybe it is true. But yeah, the motherfuckers literally, you think of it like hunting deer, like when they sit up in a tree and they just wait, and wait. And they're like, okay, there's the deer. You get me? It's almost like the same thing. Like, uh, I think they got to get off on that shit. Yeah, the cops, they had to have loved it back then. Um, Definitely not slouches, man. Not they would come for me like a motherfucking out of hell, man. I swear, man, they'd be running right there, like on the catwalk. And I always say, I'm just like a teenager wearing like a t-shirt and like a pair of blue jeans and a pair of Converse or something. And it's it. It's in the summer or something like that. Maybe in the winter, I have an army coat on or something. But that's all I got. These guys got belts with fucking guns on them and bulletproof vests and hats and shit like that. And yeah, they'd be like right there. And that's just a regular, and that's normally who would fuck with me. Because like I said, I'd make a mistake somehow, somewhere along the line. We all do it. I don't act like I'm perfect, but or maybe I get too greedy and I know and I fuck up. And then like somehow it's like just a regular cop would get involved and they're like in full fucking uniform. And they're coming after you. That was a large percentage, especially out in Astoria, Queens. That was pretty much the way it went down. I never dealt with undercovers out in Astoria, Queens. As a matter of fact, I only had like two incidences in Astoria, Queens, and I was bombing that place for a couple of years straight. I only actually had two incidences, and both of them were in the daytime. And it's just like a cop happened to be on a platform type shit. You know what I mean? It's just, oh, hey, get out of there. I was ballsy. I was there, this, that, because I was used to sixes where shit be popping off every fucking night, up in the IRTs there in the Bronx. So out in Astoria, Queens, it's just a much more mellow neighborhood. It's quiet. It's actually very similar to the six, that area, as far as it goes. If you look at the landscape, if you're on the tracks of Astoria layup and you're on the tracks of the six train, you're still, it's no difference almost. Like it's the same deal, other than that big old graveyard they got up there at the sixes. But yeah, it's like pretty much the same type of environment, all low raised buildings that are like private houses, maybe a little bodega here and there, or like one story factory or a warehouse or something like that, a bar or something like that. Yeah, a clothing store, like not high, tall shit. Yeah, it's pretty much the same situation. But I was there like during school time, like like 11:30 in the morning, 12 o'clock in the afternoon or something. And it's like people on the platform and everything. And all of a sudden I go from one set to the other set, and they're like, yo, I think I just saw someone. And yeah, someone go down to the booth, token clerk, and say, hey, yo, like someone's climbing around the tracks out there, something like that. And I would get seen or get in trouble, get chased rather. I never got caught there. Hell, I did get caught up at the Sixers. Eventually, the motherfuckers did get me. Yeah, eventually they did get me. They actually got me twice up there. The first time I ever been arrested, which was in the newspaper with my last arrest in 2017, in 1983. Man, they put me up to the Sixers hopping around. I realized 68, 78, 79, 81, 82, 83. I was 15 years old. First time I got caught for writing graffiti. And it was up at the Sixers. And then the last time I got caught on the MK was up at the Sixers. The only time I caught in my life was up at the Sixes. I just could not leave them fucking things alone, man. It was just, I was the only one hitting them fucking things for quite a while, man. Like after Mac and all them, yeah, Mac, Dio, Thule, Ken, all them dudes stopped, man. That shit, and me and Lace was going at it, man. And then Lace actually fucked up the ligaments in his knee, and he couldn't continue on. So it was just me. It was up there by myself. I mean, yeah, people hitting the outsides here and there, had seen and Zoom. I've said that several times, but for like one whole year, it was boring to me. I started bringing my friends up, like from Queens and shit. Like, oh, dudes, come on. Like, that's weird. Like, dudes from Queens are hitting the sixes and shit, you know? Yeah, I brought several people. Tommy Ripe, O.A. Nash was hitting them, and even Course KRT. I brought him up to the sixes. Yeah, I started bringing dudes from like Queens and shit like that. Yo, come on, man, let's get the sixes. Actually, they were showing me a lot of layups and yards and shit like that. And then they're like, kind of like, what do you got to bring to the table, Rob? I'm going to all these fancy places. Like they're bringing me like Nash and everyone. They're bringing me to all these cool places. I wouldn't know none of that shit. I was up on all the sixes already. Until I bumped into them guys. Like, yo, we could go. I'm like, that exists? Hell yeah. Let's do it. Like, especially Astoria Layup. I didn't even know that shit existed. Like, holy shit, I could walk there from my house. I walk right over the 59th Street Bridge. I'm there. So I'm like, yo, that's real cool. If I ever get chased, I could just walk home. And that was it. It was on. And yeah, it was on. And Tishman, too, always fucking around down under there where you could do the whole cars and stuff like that. Yeah, I would definitely put it in, man. And, I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna post also on my Patreon today. Yeah, I'm gonna get it ready today and probably post it either today or tomorrow on my Patreon. Thank you. I noticed I put a couple more subscribers on that. Thank you very much. I will be giving away artwork on there as I've been doing already. Um, yeah, check out my Patreon in the bio below. And take care of yourselves. Happy Mother's Day, man. Happy Mother's Day to everyone, man. Yeah, you got people out there, stretch marks don't make you a mother. But, people out there that really know. Be a good parent, man. Whether you're a mother or a father, you got to be a good parent, man. Yeah, it's a true story, man.